Alice, we're talking about the anniversary, 5 years. Do people mark it, and if so, how do they mark it?
Hi there, good morning. Yes, there are a number of commemorative events which are taking place across London today. Later this morning at Westminster Abbey, there's a memorial service held there. At Westgate Shopping Centre, there's also going to be a 72-second silence to commemorate those who've died. And at Grenfell Tower itself, there'll be a service for bereaved families to remember those who died, because for many people, this is very much an issue that is very much important to so many people, partly because of the fallout from the Grenfell Tower, which exposed a massive housing safety scandal. And I'm joined now by Liam Spender from End Our Cladding Scandal. Now, Liam, I know this is an issue that is very dear to your heart because you live in a flat and own a flat which has cladding.
Yes, that's right. So obviously something that troubles me quite a lot of the time.
And just explain what that means in terms of the safety of your flat, but also in terms of how it affects you financially. I mean, presumably it's devalued the value of your property.
Yes, I mean, that's the main consideration, what effects it's had on the value. But it's always at the back of your mind, if there were to be a fire, what would happen.
And we're looking at this, I mean, this sort of 5 years on. I suppose the main question that many people will be wondering today, what has changed? I mean, I was saying in my piece there that it's only been just over 2 weeks that the government banned the specific cladding that was used at Grenfell. I mean, there'll be many people today who are saying there hasn't been enough change. I mean, you've been campaigning on this issue for some years now. I mean, what do you think?
I think the government can and should have done much more than it's done a lot sooner than now, and it's unacceptable that, having failed to regulate in the years leading up to Grenfell, as the Grenfell Tower inquiry is showing us, that the government still isn't on the regulatory ball.
Yes, because they haven't adopted anywhere fewer than, I believe, half the recommendations that have been put forward in the inquiry. I mean, considering we are 5 years on and nobody has faced any criminal charges, I mean, as a lawyer yourself, I mean, that must be quite frustrating for a lot of people.
Exactly, particularly given we're looking at sort of £200 million that's been spent on the inquiry, and it's no one is to be held accountable, at least so far. And you'd have thought, given the myriad failings that Grenfell revealed, that someone should be held accountable.
Yeah, I think it's the accountability is key here, because I think when we're talking about money, whether it's money that's been spent on the inquiry, I mean, it's important to stress we're standing here right with the tower behind us, and when we're looking at 5 years on, whether it's issues to do with safety with buildings, it's really important that at the heart of this, 72 people lost their lives. Many families were left homeless without any of their possessions. And so today I think it's important that we mark that. And I suppose really it's also a question of not wanting it to happen again. And that's why it's such an important issue.
Absolutely. 72 people should never have lost their lives as a result of regulatory failings that are still not fixed. But as you say, today is about remembering the 72 people who've died, and we continue our campaign to make sure they didn't die in vain.
Well, Liam, thank you so much for speaking to me today. Really, really appreciate it. I think it's going to be quite a sombre mood in London today, as so many people remember the images of that fire which burned so strongly in the early hours of the morning. And many people will be taking, I think, a moment to remember all those 72 people who lost their lives.